What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to make a clownfish breeding tank. Alright guys, so just a few things you're going to need to start off to start this tank is, one, you're obviously going to need a tank. You're going to need some acrylic. Now, if you can get this pre-cut from your local Home Depot or your acrylic shop online or whatever, that's fine. Or if you have a table saw and the correct blade, you can actually cut it yourself like I do. This is just 3/16 inch black acrylic. And you want black because you don't want the clownfish to be able to see each other. Just depending on how many actual chambers you're going to have in here, you don't want the fish to see each other. And on this one, I'm going to have 4 chambers. It's a 20-gallon tank. And I'm going to have a 40-gallon sump as well, so it's actually going to be a 60-gallon system, which perfectly fine to keep these fish in a 5-gallon enclosure. Next, I don't know if I mentioned this, but of course you're going to need a tank. You're going to need a window marker. I don't think it's going to focus, but I believe I got this at Joann's or Michael's. I think Michael's. They're like $3 or $4. Basically, it's going to make this white, line right here, or you can get any other color you really want to. Basically, I just measured it up into 4 equal parts and some silicone with a silicone gun, and make sure. Yeah, this one's not going to say it, but make sure you're using the right silicone. I'm using GE1. I'm not sure why it's so blurry, but anyways, you want the acrylic to not say anywhere on there. Let's see. If it says mold inhibitors or prevents mold or whatever anywhere on there, you do not want to get that one. You want to get the other one. Typically, it's going to be this exact color, blue, silver, and white. I believe the other one has a little bit of extra color in there, on the packaging. But sometimes it'll say right by the GE logo there, it'll say number 1, and it's referred to as GE1. I'm using clear silicone. You can use black or, white or brown or whatever color silicone you want. It doesn't really matter. But I'm using clear just for this project. Since I drew the lines all nice and straight, I'm going to go ahead and use this tape to tape off both sides of the line so I can get a nice, clean silicone seam or bead, whatever you want to call it. I don't want it to be really sloppy. I want it to look kind of decent, So, yeah. And you'll need some tape. Alright, so now I've got this tank all taped up right here on the inside where the lines are. That way, this is where the silicone goes on both sides of the line here. I've got the baffles taped in as well. Let's see here so you can kind of see how I've done that here. You can't really see the white line because that's where the baffle is, on the outside here, which is basically to line it up perfectly straight and to have even space in between here. So I've got 5 gallons for each area. So basically all that's left to do is start to silicone, and then I'm basically going to silicone one, kind of let it sit up for a minute, and then go ahead and take the tape off here, and then go ahead and smear everything, get it all flat and straight like you see in this corner right here. So it's going to be a nice seam of silicone. And I'm not necessarily all that worried if some water leaks in between there, just as long as the fish can't get in between there, and they're not going to be able to. So the next step is to go ahead and silicone this tank up. Alright, so I have all of the baffles siliconed in here. It's a pretty ugly job. This one turned out pretty good. Let's see if I can Get it to focus there. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see because the table is actually same color silicone, but this one's actually turned out to be a good job. And this little piece right here on the acrylic, you know, I'm going to trim that up with a razor. That's no big deal. But on the glass part, you can see, maybe you can see how smooth it is there. I did this one and then I smoothed it out real quick, and then I went ahead and did the other two, which was actually 4, so one side on each side, and it didn't necessarily turn out that good. As you can see here, it's kind of choppy and messy. What happened was the silicone actually started to get a little hard and started drying. So next time I do this, I'm going to do just like I did this one. I'm going to actually put silicone on both sides of one single baffle, straighten it out, and then go to the next one, do the same thing, and then go to the next one to do the same thing. But, I mean, it's ugly, but it will hold. It's actually sealed. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty sure, I'm confident that it will hold water. And again, this is the 20-gallon tank. So I'm going to let this cure probably a few days before I start hacking the silicone off. And then I'm going to cure it a total of probably 14 days before I actually put fish in there. And there's the 2 cats. They're crazy. But yeah, it's a pretty simple process. Silicone's really easy. You might want to practice on a few things first before you actually try to attempt something that you're going to be looking at, because I'm not too happy with these 2 baffles. I'm really not going to want to sit there and look at this ugly job, but it'll work. So this is basically how you make a clownfish breeding tank. Next, I'm going to go ahead and drill this tank. I'm going to drill 4 holes, so 1 in each, so that I can hook up all the lines to the sump. And then I'll make a return that comes from the sump, and then it'll be a complete system. I also need to make some baffles for the sump. I'm going to get a 40-gallon breeder, or I may get maybe a 20-gallon high. I don't even know yet. I'm not 100% sure yet. But just depending on how much acrylic I have, and if I want to make another trip out to the acrylic shop or not, because it's about 60 miles away. So I need to make a pretty good size order before I use all my gas to go out there. But anyways, tank is looking pretty good. There's silicone also on the acrylic, which is, you just get a little razor, just be pretty gentle about it, and just you know, scrape it off. Same thing with on that side right there. So until next time, I will see you on the next update.